What's cracking, guys? Omar Isov here, talking about everyone's favorite muscle group, the chest, okay, the ass chest. I'm talking about, in particular, building the upper pec and how I'm now currently utilizing the incline bench press, a machine or an exercise equipment that I honestly didn't like before, but how I'm now tweaking how I use it in order to effectively target the upper chest. I'm not going to go too much into the anatomy of the chest itself. I already made a video on that. If you want to check that out, link is going to be in the description. But what is important when it comes to targeting a muscle is hitting it up from different angles. If you want to target the upper pec, it is important to do some form of incline work. Now, here was my problem traditionally when it came to the incline bench press. The incline was too harsh, right? It was too high. And what that meant is that your deltoids would do too much of the work, right? We want our upper chest right here to do the vast majority of the work. So for me, what I used to recommend would be a low incline bench press. So what would you do? You'd set up with an adjustable bench, a lower angle. So this is approximately, let's say, around 40 to 45 degrees. We set it up at a 30-degree angle, and you'd really effectively target your chest there. Here's the problem. Well, I think it's a very effective exercise. It requires a lot of equipment, right? You guys go to busy gyms, as do I now, Fortis Fitness. Everyone's squatting, they got to use the racks. What you need an adjustable bench, you need a power rack, you need a lot of equipment. So I started thinking to myself, what about the average bro out there, right? How can we kind of transform this piece of equipment right here where I feel that the incline is too steep, it's too high? How can we modify it to effectively target the upper chest? And so over the last few months, I've been experimenting. I've come up with the technique that I feel is most effective for utilizing the incline bench with the purpose of targeting the upper pec. So we're gonna play around with a couple different things, and you guys are gonna see how changing a few different key variables, how changing the grip width, the bar position where it touches, your feet, the arch that you put onto the bench press, how all these things will massively affect how much you feel it in your upper chest. So I'm gonna get started. I'm going to demonstrate. We're gonna assume that your incline bench press looks kind of similar to this. What we're gonna do first, we're gonna select the height that you have of the seat itself. And the problem is the following: if you don't set up the effective height, what's going to happen, you're not going to have effective leg drive and you're not going to be able to arch effectively. So what we're actually doing with the incline bench, and that's a huge problem I see with a lot of tutorials out there for the incline bench press or a lot of bodybuilders, is that they will not arch, and by not arching, the incline is still too high. When you arch, you actually are leaning it back towards it. It's reducing the angle and therefore it's targeting the upper chest a little bit more. This one I actually already adjusted for myself. This is approximately right. Why is it right? Well, one, my ass is going to remain on the seat. My feet are firmly planted. When I go to push down with my legs, I could get an effective leg drive. We're utilizing powerlifting style principles when it comes to technique to lift maximal load. When we talk about hypertrophy, we know mechanical tension, essentially how much weight that you're lifting, is very important. It's a key driver for hypertrophy. So we're going to utilize all these things to our benefit, tweak the form so we can really target the upper chest and try and lift as much weight as possible. So one, we select a height where we can effectively push down with our legs. So a shorter individual would want to raise this up, a lower individual would want to shift it down like this. So if you're taller, you'd be down here. The problem when I'm down here, however, when I go to arch, the bar is now too far away from me. The line of push is not effective. For a grip width, if normally when you use a bench press, you go with, let's say, just outside of shoulder width, we're gonna go a little bit wider than that. So think if you guys do variations, you have a close grip style and then you have a wide grip variation of your bench press, we're going with the wide grip. Why? The wider we go, the more effectively you'll be able to target the actual chest. So if we go normal, we're gonna go a little bit outside of that. So that's a few inches either way. So for me, it's right around the rings for my pinky. We're gonna select that. From there, we're gonna pull our body using the bar into position. So we set our feet, unlike the bench where you could set like maybe first your back and then your feet. For the incline, you gotta set your feet first. Then you're gonna grab the bar, pull yourself into position. So from here, I'm gonna grab the bar, pull my back. So I'm arching, arching, arching. And I'm actually slowly shifting down as I arch. And if we get a side angle right here, well, you'll notice there's a slight space with my mid back right here on the bench press, as it would be on a bench press itself. So we're utilizing, like I said, powerlifting principles. So we got a little bit of space right here, which is what we need. We want that effective arch so we can utilize our leg drive, get in a powerful setup to effectively target our upper chest. If you notice, I'm gonna show you right here, this right here basically makes the chest on a more shallow incline. If I go parallel to the actual bench, what do we notice? I'm on a higher incline, that's more front delt. So we go from flat, parallel to it, to arching onto it, which would be safer for our shoulders, number one. But number two then, it reduces the angle so it targets more effectively the upper chest. It's closer to that 30-degree angle that we want. So we pull ourselves in a position using the bar. We get tight, our feet are nice and stable. The other big key we're gonna do after we unrack it is we're gonna focus on a relatively straightish line of pushing. When we press, when it comes to the bench press, as you guys know from my previous video, it's not really in a straight line, you go backwards. Well, for us here, because we wanna minimize the amount of shoulder involvement or try and maximize really the amount of upper pec involvement, we're gonna push essentially in a straight line. It's gonna go a little bit back, but not too far back. So from here, we're gonna make sure that first off, this is set up at a proper height, that when we unrack, we don't protract with the shoulders. From here, elbows tucked, chest up. We're gonna bring it down to the upper pec here, like so. And when we press, as you can tell, it's in a straight line. So we're not pushing it back, we're pushing it straight up. And you'll see that groove right there. You should even feel, if you do approximately 20 repetitions, a little bit of activation in your chest. Because in this way, we're maximizing the recruitment of the upper chest. We can actually tweak it even a little bit further. We could bring the bar even higher, what people will refer to as a guillotine press, but then there's a trade-off between your shoulder health and then pec recruitment. For me, because I'm now doing weightlifting and anterior deltoid strength is actually very important, and not only that, I have to minimize the amount of bench press work that I do just because doing too much of it can lead to internal rotation. I gotta select one movement. I've honestly selected now the incline bench as my primary bench press movement. Why? Because like I said before, I want bigger delts, but at the same time, you know, the upper pec, if I only got one movement to do, this is more effective than the bench press for targeting that upper pec. My triceps I get hit with other movements. So for me, I wanna build more of that chest. This by using this variation right here, those 5 different tweaks, taking kind of a powerlifting style setup, but then applying some of the principles of bodybuilding in terms of where we land on the chest in order to target the upper chest effectively. I hope this helps. I could say honestly guys, first I've never made a tutorial on the incline bench or why I would utilize it for trying to build the upper pec, and that is because for a long time I didn't feel it also in my upper pec, and I found that the low incline was far more effective. However, this is a really good substitute if you don't have the time, your gym doesn't have the equipment for you to set up that low incline press. So when it comes to programming, I'll leave that to you guys. If this is your primary movement, you program it like a primary movement. So you could do your 3x5, you could do 5 sets of 3. If you're moving towards your secondary movement, maybe a 4x6, 4x6 to 8 reps. If it's your third movement, maybe a 3x10, 3x10 to 12 reps. But try this new technique out. If you've been wanting to build your upper pec, I believe this is a very good variation, utilizing some of these principles, some of these tweaks that we made. Let me know in the comments section below, because you guys have been asking me about building the ass chest. I've been thinking about this for you guys. What's something that we could tweak, a piece of equipment? Everybody has it, every single gym, in order to do that more effectively. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, you made it all the way to the end. You listened to the whole tutorial. So what you waiting for? Like the damn video, and I'll be seeing all you guys, my rascals, in that next video. Peace.